Yesterday, I made a video about Ryzen 9800X 3D CPUs blowing up, and today I'm making a video about AMD's RX 9070 XT GPU blowing up. What's going on, AMD? Igor's lab recently received a PowerColor 9070 XT Hellhound edition from a reader of the tech outlet. The GPU had very unusual thermal behavior, reaching higher temps than the throttling limit of RDNA 4 GPUs, which is already set very high at 110 degrees Celsius. Upon receiving the GPU, Igor's lab did the usual first aid, repasting the GPU die and reapplying a high quality PTM pad and additional thermal putty on the memory and voltage converters. But when the thermal issue still persisted, they put the GPU die under a microscope for further analysis and found that the GPU die was highly pitted, showing 1934 craters or pits, and some pits are much deeper and wider than the industry standard guideline. Now, pitting on silicon is not a new thing. It occurs when the silicon goes through the back grinding process. To put it simply, after a silicon is cut from its wafer, it goes through a process similar to sanding, where the silicon gets grinded up to match the thickness of its use case. And yes, due to the nature of the process, silicons do have microscopic scratches on their surface. But as I said, because of this reason, there is an industry standard guideline, and if a silicon doesn't fall under that threshold, then it is deemed unusable, which means all the parties including TSMC, AMD and PowerColor failed to meet the quality assurance criteria for this particular product. TSMC uses an AI-based optical recognition technique to detect these type of defects on their silicon. Now the question is this a single die that the AI failed to detect, or there is a batch of silicon that have these type of defects? For now, AMD is sticking to the idea that this is an isolated event and said, we are aware of the reported issue and believe this to be an isolated incident. We are working with our partners and internal teams to understand the issue and remain committed to product quality and rigorous screening throughout the production process. Now, if this was an isolated event, then this is all well and good. But if there is a batch of GPUs with similar type of defect, then that's a big problem for AMD, because you can't fix it with a driver or a BIOS update. And if the affected GPUs are not monitored properly, then it could very well become much worse than a GPU going out of whack. And Igor's lab in their article have stated that they have received news about further cases of 9070 showing unusual thermal behavior, 2 from again PowerColor and 1 from Sapphire. In both cases, users have sent those GPUs for RMA, and because of that reason, Igor labs still haven't got their hands onto those GPUs, but they are trying. So right now it is very hard to say that those GPUs also have the same defect, or they having these type of thermal issue for some unknown reason. But if you recently bought a 9070 series GPU and it is showing unusual thermal behavior, then send that GPU for RMA, because it always starts with an isolated event before it becomes a widespread issue. And I've linked down the Igor's lab article in the description, and I would suggest you go and read it through, because you will learn the whole issue in much more detail, which this video format doesn't really allows me to do, or at a certain degree I don't feel myself to be completely qualified to talk about those things in much further details. But while you're down there, why not like the video if you liked it? If you haven't liked it, leave a dislike. Feel free to do it. Comment down in the comment section that do you bought a 9070 or not, or are you scared, or AMD in trouble? Feel free to say anything you want. And if you want to watch more videos from us, check out this video right here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, do it by here. And this is Akash, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.